How are you all this morning? How are you doing? It is Thursday and we are moving steadily with this particular week. So that gives us more advantages of looking at how business is moving across the world and all the opportunities that may rise besides the others and the rest of it all. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. Welcome to Smart Means Business. This is how we start our mornings here on Smart 24 TV. From 7 a.m. we get it with Barija Andrew with more from the news recap as he takes you back through some of the top stories that were making headlines from our previous bulletin, that is Business Today. And then we get into the press review where we review some of the other business stories making headlines from the print media perspective. Then also we have the international news where we look at stories from across different borders away from Uganda. Now, with the press review this morning, I've got a New Vision and the Daily Monitor. With the New Vision first, Kampala City Council Authority honors frontline workers, of which there is a pictorial showing Kampala City Council Authority's Executive Director Dorothy Chisaka's fist bumps with some of the authority's frontline workers at the Kololo Independence Grounds. This was happening yesterday, and Dorothy Chisaka praised the city cleaners, especially women, for their commitment to making Kampala a smart city. And then when you look at the other situations, over 4,000 workers, including the enforcement team, garbage collectors, drainage cleaners and gardeners, were treated to a free lunch and given gift hampers on the day dubbed Frontliners Appreciation Day. So this and more is what the New Vision is highlighting here. Yesterday, President Museveni was addressing the country on matters to do with national importance, but also on the issues to do with Ebola. And he did mention that Uganda has the capacity to fight the Ebola epidemic. And here, the New Vision says Uganda gets Ebola vaccine. That is also with the New Vision. Now, also in the business segment with the New Vision, Uganda's health insurance is costly, according to a study that was revealed that Uganda's health insurance has become more costly than ever. Why is that so? Still with the New Vision. Now, also on the other side of the coin, New Vision says Uganda Revenue Authority has tightened tax grip on employees. And another big report regarding the public service, over 200,000 employees or over 200,000 face asked over failure to declare their wealth. So as you can see, government wants people to declare their wealth, but most of them have failed to declare. So that means they may be fired of their duties under the public health. As in the issues to do with mining, still with the New Vision, 3 billion tons of graphite have been discovered in Kitgum district. That is a big story, and it can be highly of huge importance to Ugandans. Now, with the Daily Monitor, patients missing kidney opens hospital to probe. There's been a very huge concern on social media and various discussions across the entire country in matters to do with kidney trade, as most of the people in the country is that some victims have already reported hospitals to the authorities saying going into the theaters, and after going there for an operation, they get to realize they're not having their kidneys with them. Now, police and professional regulators are seeking to establish whether 25-year-old Muhammad Kabanda was born with one kidney or lost it last month during a surgery to fix his broken fall skull. Now, the old Kampala hospital declined to discuss the matter, citing ethical considerations. This is another story that many people are coming up to understand what is really happening in our motherland. Now, Uganda Revenue Authority goes after side jobs in new tax regime. That is with the Daily Monitor, and you can find more of those particular ones as well. Now, in Bulisa, the parish development model SACCOs are stuck with 225 million shillings. That is according to the parish development model funds that the government did allocate. Then also farmers embrace government plan to save riverbanks. That is with the Daily Monitor still this morning. So those are more and why you need to look steadily at how best the business is moving on in the country. That is it for the press review this morning. Let's get into the S&B International News. All right, now with the international news, we start with economic integration. Yesterday we did have a report between Kenya and Tanzania. Now, on the build-up of that one, Tanzania and Kenya have widened their doors to create room for more of business to prosper. President Samia Suluhu Hassan and Kenyan counterpart William Ruto have expressed their determination to forge relations that focus on benefiting their citizens through exploiting natural resources and trade opportunities. Now, at the State House in Dar es Salaam yesterday, the two leaders made their commitments shortly after holding bilateral discussions. This was on Wednesday. This was on Tuesday evening. Now, as you can see, and after holding bilateral discussions and wrapping up President Ruto's two-day working visit in the country of Tanzania. Now, the bilateral discussions, according to President Samia, were centered on enhancing the relationship between Tanzania and Kenya, including ways in which these two nations can gain from removing trade restrictions. The two leaders further discussed ways to further boost bilateral cooperation and vowed to do so in a number of areas. Now, which number of areas include trade and investment, tourism, infrastructure development, there's energy, defense and security, immigration, border demarcation and regional cooperation. And among the other things that the President of Tanzania stated, that overall, of the 68 non-tariff barriers and bilateral issues that the experts did identify, 54 had been addressed and eliminated, while 49 are remaining to be resolved. And according to President Samia, the collaboration to solve trade barriers and the issues between Tanzania and Kenya began and has significantly boosted business, with Tanzania reaping twice as many benefits as it had been getting previously. Now, also the Joint Commission of Collaboration, that is with the JCC, which was established to deepen and strengthen cooperation between the two nations, was underscored by the two heads of states. They also emphasized the significance of holding a mid-term review meeting to ensure that the agreed upon implementation areas are being followed upon. Another area they have discussed is the 600-kilometer gas pipeline from Dar es Salaam to Mombasa, where the two countries, according to President Samia, have already signed an agreement. Now, they said that President William Ruto has carried it as the first key project that he will start with Tanzania. Now, also on the other hand, President Samia said they also discussed ways of enhancing cooperation between the security agencies of the two countries to battle transboundary crimes such as poaching, drugs, and human trafficking. As you can definitely see, President William Ruto, ever since he came into power as president in Kenya, has been working on making sure that the cooperation between member states from the East African community, making tours, and these are visible tours when he has been moving on across the world, and then as well moving across Africa to ensure that Kenya gets back onto ensuring and strengthening the relationship they have between different countries. That, in the long run, if you're to look at that, is to at least boost development and also set strategies on how Kenyans will be developing and pitching in when it comes to the business strategies that will be set aside. Okay, away from that, we head to Western Africa as Ivory Ghana Cocoa Initiative has seen Cameroon and Nigeria request to join this particular initiative. Now, the Cameroon and Nigeria requested to join the Côte d'Ivoire Ghana Cocoa Initiative, which is a joint body spearheading the interests of the two countries in the cocoa trade. Now, the head of the initiative, Alex Asavo, did reveal this on Wednesday. The initiative was set up after a 2018 declaration by Ivory Coast and Ghana, which is the world's first and second largest cocoa producers respectively, on willingness to define a common sustainable cocoa strategy that would raise prices and increase payment to farmers in cocoa, or those farmers that are dealing in cocoa. Now, it was created with the view of including other African countries, and this is one of the reasons as to why now Cameroon and Nigeria are requesting to join the initiative. Representatives from Cameroon and Nigeria were invited to the Côte d'Ivoire Ghana Cocoa Initiative meeting in Abidjan, that is the capital of Ivory Coast, to begin the process of joining the initiative, according to Asavo. Now, Asavo is Alex Asavo is the head of this particular initiative, and when you look at the initiative that was having a meeting in Abidjan, and now Cameroon and Nigeria, who requested to join the initiative, received an invitation to come and share their ideas on why they need to be part of this one. Now, on context in regards to analysis or analytical figures, you get to realize Cote d'Ivoire is the world's first largest cocoa producer. And then Ghana comes in second. Nigeria and Cameroon want to join the value chain to look for markets of their cocoa produce and see how they can tap into these various international markets, be it Europe, be it the United States, or be it the Americas and Asia. There are quite a number of vast markets open for those dealing in cocoa production and cocoa exports. So Cameroon and Nigeria do want to fit into that particular space. Now, this is what Africa and the development of Africa's sustainable goals is all about: working together, coming together and reinforcing cooperation. But not only that, we focus on seeing free trade movement and seeing that the African countries can definitely help one another to develop and grow economies. And that is what Cameroon, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana are up to in regards to cocoa growing, producing and exporting. Lastly, from the international news, we look at gas supply as Europe now turns to Africa as alternative to Russia. This is an alternative of gas after Russia invaded Ukraine, and the crisis has continued to create barriers against Russia. Now, Africa's natural gas reserves are vast, and countries like Algeria have pipelines linked to Europe, but exports have since remained low. A new liquefied natural gas project off Africa's western coast may be only 80% complete, but already the prospect of a new energy supply has drawn visits from the leaders of Poland and that of Germany. The initial field near Senegal and Mauritania's coastline is expected to contain 15 trillion cubic feet, and that is approximately 425 billion cubic meters of gas. Now, that is 5 times more than what gas-dependent Germany used in all of 2019, but production isn't expected to start until the end of next year. That won't help solve Europe's energy crisis triggered by Russia's war in Ukraine, but still, Gordon Birrell, who is an executive for Project co-developer BP, says the development could not be more timely as Europe seeks to reduce its reliance on Russian natural gas to power factories. This also includes generating electricity and heat homes as well. Now, Europe is actually heading into winter, and this is when most probably the demand for gas goes higher. And as you can definitely see, while Africa's natural gas reserves are vast and North African countries like Algeria have pipelines that are already linked to Europe, a lack of infrastructure and security challenges have long seen producers in other parts of the continent from scaling up various options and hitting the key exports that they've already set as their huge targets. Now, established African producers are cutting deals or reducing energy use so that they have more to sell to boost their finances. But then some leaders warn that hundreds of millions of Africans still lack electricity and supplies are needed at home. So looking at the exports, you need to also focus more on how much the people back home do receive. Now, when you look at the initial field near Senegal and Mauritania's coastline, this one is expected to contain about 15 trillion cubic feet of gas, 5 times more than what gas-dependent Germany used in all of 2019. But production is expected to start until the end of next year. For a while now, European countries have been turning to African countries in the last few months, ever since Russia invaded Ukraine in February this year. Now, the reason as why this is so is to ensure that they have alternatives, with the fact that they will be switching to cheaper alternatives for gas, as the sanctions against Russia and the European embargoes against Russia continue to hit hard on the Russian country. But how will the Russians react? That and more is what we will be waiting to experience later on with this situation and crisis. Well, this is a very huge benefit to the African countries, as we can definitely see. It is more of a blessing in disguise for the African gas producers and exporters, as well as those oil-rich countries in Africa. Case in point, Algeria and Nigeria as well. Quite many of the rest that produce gas and oil here in Africa. That is also a development of Africa's oil and gas sector, and giving room for Uganda to be more excited and anticipate more of their oil and gas sector that will take center stage when Uganda receives its first drop of oil in the year 2025. That is it for the SMB International News. Let's have our business tip of this morning. All right, we start with the business quote. Helen Keller, an American author, political activist, and lecturer, says character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened. Ambition will be inspired and success will be achieved. So that is what, according to Helen Keller, an American author, political activist, and lecturer. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. It can only be developed through experience. So if you are too quiet and too comfortable in your comfort zone, sometimes you get to realize you're not going to strengthen your characters. Your character can only be shaped around quite many things, but not ease and quiet. You're supposed to stand up, face those challenges, get hit, stand up, lose, win tomorrow. So those are some of the signs that you are definitely building a stronger character, because you live by experiencing life. You don't only experience life on the soft side of it, but you're going to experience life even in the hardest ways possible. But that doesn't mean that you are not bound to receive success. Nevertheless, on the long run, you may face some big challenges, but if you continue to strengthen your journey and continue to see how best you can achieve most of these things, then everything will be okay and you will be good to go. That's exactly why it is very important for you to strengthen yourself and look forward to making sure that this happens. And definitely this is something that you will have to pick up from there if you are an individual and you want to ideally face the easiest chances of success. All right, away from the quote, let's have our business tip as well. Get organized. To achieve business success, you need to be organized. This will help you complete tasks and stay on top of things to be done. And a good way to be organized is to create a to-do list each day that comes by. Waking up in the morning may not be that easy for everybody, more so when you're waking up in the morning and you have a tight schedule ahead of you. But if you plan accordingly and know what to do from the word go, or from how you've started your day, then trust me, by the end of the day, everything will be well for you. And this particular tip tells you to get organized. It inspires you to work on organizing yourself. Organizing yourself starts from you and within yourself. How have you organized your mind? How is your mindset? How mature is it? How ready are you? And what is your attitude towards everything that is going to come across you that day that comes up? It's not easy to get ready for a working day, but if you plan accordingly, it is definitely going to be a roller coaster ride for you. That is why organization is very important and why you need to create a to-do list every day. At least a to-do list gives you room to at least make all your plans accordingly. And that is the business tip for this morning. And now, investing and talking bonds securities is what is the biggest topic lately in Uganda's financial market space. But for you as an individual, there are lots of chances for you to develop yourself by making use and making good use of your money. How true and how best can you do it is by investing your money in bonds and securities using the Zabu platform. With Zabu, you can use the USSD code *292# on MTN and start investing. But first, you need to register with your NIN, and after 24 hours, it is easier for you to start up and invest in those securities. Zabu says, my money, my future. Markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. Markets are closed during weekends and public holidays, but the other working days, it is always open for you to invest, and you can invest with a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Terms and conditions do apply, of course, and that is Zabu, my money, my future. Zabu is powered by Altex East Africa. Okay, now you can as well add us on our socials here on Smart24 TV, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We are Smart24 TV official on Facebook, Smart24_TV on Instagram, and Smart24 TV on Twitter. Our YouTube channel is Smart24 TV Live, as we are streaming live. But as well, you can hit us up on LinkedIn. Meanwhile, the other channels of getting close to Smart24 TV on mainstream, we are GoTV channel 394 and DSTV channel 372. For more details to do with business reports and ideas, this is the channel for you. The website is www.smart24.tv. After the break, I will return with the coffee court discussion, and we have more about the dog business in Uganda. Stick around.